Hi there, and welcome back to another episode about the deities in the solar system. And I can promise you that this is going to be the wildest story that you have heard all day. It might even be true. And just a heads up, if you've jumped into this video off the internet, this video is part of a wider series about this new formula in metaphysics which makes sense of a whole bunch of old stories, and it puts them into a context which gives us new pieces of information about, who we fall in love with, what the story is about all those pole shifts, all of the good stuff. And this video is applying this formula to the deity Saturn to show us the most crazy, wild, I can't even put it into a teaser. I'm just going to jump right into it. I said in the Jupiter video that Saturn takes the cake, because takes the cake means it wins the prize for being the most surprising. And I thought I'd literally make him a cake because, well, Saturn is the god of time, so he does give us birthdays. Many happy returns, Saturn. And I like to start these videos by showing us a picture of what the actual planet is, because it can often tell us a lot about who the deity is. And the planet Saturn is the second biggest planet in the solar system. It's another gas giant, and it's almost as big as Jupiter in size. It's about 8 times the size of Earth, and only an eighth is dense because it is a gas giant. And its most defining feature is its iconic halo of rings. Those rings are made out of ice and dust, and they're shaped by its moons. It has about 150 moons. We're not quite sure exactly how many, but about 150. And another lesser known aspect about Saturn is it's got this weird hexagonal shaped storm on one of its poles. So yeah, that is Saturn. As is traditional for the English names of the planets, Saturn is the Roman name of the god, and Saturn was a god of agriculture, of cyclic renewal, and of abundance, of amassing wealth, because you reap what you sow. There was a massive festival held every December in honour of Saturn called a Saturnalia, and it was a week of gift giving, feast giving, and all of the slaves had a week off, very much like we have today with Christmas. And what the Saturnalia was in honour of was to remember the time when Saturn used to be king of the world. It was a golden age of abundance where we didn't need slaves because the food would just pop out of the ground spontaneously. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But normally when we think of Saturn, we think of this picture, okay? So it's Saturn eating his babies. This painting is by Goya in his dark phase, and this is probably what we always remember Saturn as, but this is part of a larger picture about the procession of the rulers of the world in classical mythology. It's not just Saturn who eats its babies, it's all of the classical kings of the world. So first of all, we had Gaia and Uranus. Gaia was Mother Earth, Uranus was Father Sky, and Father Sky decided he didn't like his babies, so he shoved them back into Gaia. Gaia wasn't very happy about this, weirdly enough, so she gives Saturn his sickle, that sickle made out of adamantium. And Saturn uses the sickle to dispatch his father, which makes Saturn, Kronos, king of the world, ruler of a golden age. It's just that he was a little bit paranoid that one of his children was going to take over the throne, so he decided he would stop this by eating his babies. Now, his wife Re, weirdly enough, didn't like Saturn eating all of her babies, so she hid one of them. She gave Saturn a rock to eat, and she hid her little baby Zeus off in the Isle of Crete, where he grew up fat and healthy on the milk from a magical sheep's horn or a cornucopia. Zeus, along with the help of Gaia and Zeus's girlfriend at the time called Metis, she's the goddess of wisdom and strategy, they make up a potion, they feed it to Saturn, Saturn sicks up all of his babies, and all of those baby gods, along with Zeus, have this massive war of the gods called the Titanomachy, and Zeus comes out victorious, and then Zeus becomes king of the sky, king of the gods once again, but he has also been given the same prophecy that two of his children, a daughter and a son, are going to replace him. So what he does is he tries to stop this happening as well. So he eats his girlfriend Metis. The thing is, Metis is already pregnant when Zeus eats her. So he gets this rocking headache. Someone smacks his head open, out jumps Athena, fully clad in all her armour shining. Okay, so we've got the new daughter who's going to overthrow Zeus, but we aren't quite told who the son is. It's a cliffhanger. But why I'm telling you this way too long story for this video is what I'm showing you is that Saturn's just doing what all the kings of the world do. Yeah, okay. And as I keep repeating over and over with these videos, none of the classical gods are shown in a very nice light. So once again, what we're seeing is the classical gods are not being shown in a favourable light, and when we take Saturn over into astrology, he's still not shown in a favourable light. In astrology, Saturn is known as the Great Malefic, which is like malignant, like malevolent, like bad, because he's the god of rules, he's the god of limitations, and he's the god of work. He gives us those growth experiences that put the pressure on us and turn us into beautiful diamonds. So he's about making us do things which will create lasting wealth and abundance, creating something solid which will stand the test of time. He's about commitment, responsibility, determination, faithfulness, all of those things that you want in a long life partner. And if we didn't have rules in the world, we wouldn't know what was happening. So in a lot of ways, those rules, these laws of physics are, while they're hard, they also give us stability and certainty. So that is Saturn in astrology. Now, if we apply, and while this sounds a little bit dark, if we apply this formula of aligning the planets with the chakra system, where we end up with Saturn is he ends up being the crown chakra, which makes a little bit more sense when we have a look at the electromagnetic spectrum. So if we have a look at the electromagnetic spectrum, the two big frequencies are infrared and ultraviolet. So if we think of Jupiter as infrared, Jupiter is positive, but it's also big wavelengths. And Saturn, which is ultraviolet, is really high frequency wavelengths. So it's these things that appear as sacrifices are really about refinement to give us the smaller frequencies, which give us the higher frequency experience, which is what we're all after. Hard work, but possibly really worth it. In Santería, his name is a butler. A butler means king of the white cloth, and he's all about peace, wisdom, and spirituality. The saying goes that staying spiritually pure is as challenging as keeping a white t-shirt clean. And all of that wisdom doesn't come easily. He is associated with the snow on the mountaintop or the white hair we get with old age. Getting old isn't for wimps. And there's this story that goes along with a butler, because a butler was really close to God. He was given the job of making humans out of clay. So a butler's out there in Africa making the humans out of clay, and it's hot, the sun's beating down, he gets thirsty, and he starts drinking some palm wine. Now, he gets a bit drunk, so some of the humans he makes are a bit wonky, which is, the story goes, is why some humans are a little bit different or special. But even all of these different people are sacred to a butler. He loves us all. He's synchronized with Jesus Christ. In the tarot, his card is the Hierophant. A Hierophant is a person who brings spiritual experiences to people. So a pope can be a Hierophant, but not all Hierophants are popes. And in the tarot, The Hierophant card is about being conservative, about following the rules and doing the right thing. It's a good fit. In real life, people who personify this archetype, they could be tall and they marry the Yemaya or the Neptune archetype, and that's probably the best way to spot who this person is, because they're not all running around wearing white looking like Jesus. We're a mix of all the colours of the rainbow, all the chakras, so we're a lot more balanced down here on Earth. And I think that's enough about this archetype to fill up an episode. So, would you like a piece of cake? No? You're keto, vegan, gluten intolerant? Yeah, me too. Carrot stick? It's organic. Okay. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Ciao!